Hey guys, Don with DinoRC, and I wanted to take just a minute to go over some of the new classes that we're going to be running to kind of get you familiar so that you'll know exactly what we're doing. So the first class that we have in the minis is the Pro Mini. The Pro Mini is kind of like what we call a Pro Mod, but this is for 124 scale. It has to be 124 scale. You can run flat rail chassis, a stock chassis, anything you want, as long as it's a ladder style chassis. You can run 2S, 3S, you can run whatever electronics you want, or whatever tires you want. You have to run some type of body, and it has to cover all of your electronics. We haven't really set the tire size yet, but it's basically 1-inch 124 size tires. We may address that in the future, but for now, that's what you have to have to be legal to run it in one of our comps. We set the gates usually about 7 or 8 inches, so you've got to be within that width or you're not going to fit. So keep that in mind. You can't have rear steer or dig. You can't have either of those. We haven't started implementing any kind of winches in these yet, although that is something that we're going to be looking into. The next one we have is Pro Mini Stock. So Pro Mini Stock, you have to run a stock set of C rails. They could be S6 24 rails, FMS 24 rails, maybe some other companies 24 rails. They got to be C channels, and they have to be a ladder style. In Pro Mini, you can run brushed or brushless. In Pro Stock, you have to run brushed. Used to, we kept this with all stock electronics on the SCX24 platform, but there's more trucks and stuff coming, and let's face it, we like to upgrade our trucks some. So the way I'm going to run this is you have to run a brushed motor. You have to run a brushed motor, 2S on Pro Stock Mini, and you have to have a full body, and you have to have all your electronics, battery, all that stuff covered. Other than that, you're left up to your own wilds what you want to do to it. It needs to have a center skid with a center transmission. So unless we run into something different, meaning that, if you want to order an aftermarket skid plate, you can, as long as it goes back where the factory skid plate was. So you can't have any kind of Ford motor mount or nothing like that in it. It has to be, unless it came stock that way, with C-channel rails. All right, so I think that pretty much explains that one. Let's move on to the next one. This one we have Super Pro Mini. Super Pro Mini is for the 1/18 scale trucks. So a TRX4M build, the new Red Cat Ascent 18 build. This is an 18th scale. You can run, whatever motor you want, brushed, brushless. Same rules apply. You have to have a ladder chassis, and you have to have your electronics covered with a body. So it's pretty simple on that. These you can go with, we'll probably move up the wheel size, maybe to 1.2s or something. I'll have to look in on that, but for right now, we're going to be pretty lenient on that until we get it figured out. But anyhow, it's going to be for the 18th size. As of right now, we're not adding rear steer to these. We may change this class and add a different class later for the 18s if it grows. So like your AX24s, they're not able to be in this class as of right now. The next one we have is Pro Mini Big Body. Now that's what I'm talking about. I like them big bodies. So this class is set up for a stock looking TRX4M or any 18th scale truck that has, a good scale Lexan body. Now, you can't run in this if you don't have a good body like what the TRX4Ms come with, or, like maybe SX24s come with good bodies. But anyhow, you have to run a stock chassis. You have to run full bumpers. They have to go the width of the body. You have to run, a stock TRX4 body for now, unless we might allow like a FMS or one of the other companies. But it can't be just some aftermarket thin rock crawling body. That's not what this is about. This is about a scale looking truck, but in the mini form. And the reason we were running, like a box stock class for the TRX4M, but they, we like to upgrade them a little bit, and the performance isn't quite where we want it. So I wanted to upgrade it a little bit. You have to run a brushed motor for now. We may end up letting people run brushless in this, but for now, this is stock, so we're going to run brushed motors in the TRX4M class. All right, but anything else that you want to change, if you want to change wheels, tires, if you want to switch the motor, you can. It will be a stock. I think it has to be stock skid placement and stock transmission placement in the big body stock for now. You can upgrade your servo, you can change radios, you can do all those things. It has to be an uncut body. You can't cut up your TRX4 big body. This is a big body class. So anytime we have a big body class, we're looking for that stock uncut body, a good looking body. To stay safe, like I said, a TRX4 M body is what I'd recommend. All right, the next one that we have is Novice. Novice is run what you brung, pretty much. It needs to be 10th scale, but you can run, if you've got, an old RS10 rock slide that's MOA, or if you've got, just whatever RC you got that you want to bring, that's a crawler, you can bring it, and we'll let you crawl it in Novice. Now, once you win first once in Novice, you can't run in it anymore. So, but you can run whatever, just run what you run. We want people to get into the hobby, and, no matter what truck they've got, as long as it's 10th scale, they can run it in this class. All right, the next class that we have is Youth. Youth is also a run what you bring class. You can run MOAs, you can run, ladder chassis, you can run twin vertical plates, you could run, anything that you want to bring that's your crawler, you can run in this, or, if you have a Pro Mod truck and you want to bring your kid, he can run your Pro Mod in this. It's no problem. It's run what you bring for the kids. And that, I'm wanting to say that's 15 and under, I think, is where we're at on that. Like I said, that's another one we've been working on, but we want the kids to be able to crawl, and we want them to have a good time. But we don't want, older kids just sitting there dominating the younger kids either. All right, so the next one that we have is Pro Stock. Pro Stock, we've been running this class for a while. You have to run a body. You need to have your electronics covered. You've got, you can run a cab only if you want to in this. It needs to have a set of C-rails for 1/10 scale. And it needs to have the same thing. It needs to have stock skid plate placement, and that's and stock, and the same thing. It needs to have the transmission in the stock location. You can upgrade the case and stuff like that if you want to, but it needs to have a transmission in the stock location. So that's the rules that we have for that. In Pro Stock and Pro mod as well, which we'll get into in just a second. These have a 5-inch tire height maximum. You can't run anything higher than that. And I'm talking that's how tall they are, not what it says on them. You can't run more than 5 inches. You can run any tires you want, any foams you want, but they have to be able to fit within a 5-inch jig. All right. The next thing that we have is Sportsman. So Sportsman is a class that that's went through some changes, but Sportsman is, at least for DinoRC, it is a pro mod truck, but it's for somebody that's a beginner. All right, so somebody that's intermediate. So Sportsman, you can run a winch. I know some places don't let you run a winch in these, but I want you to have a winch in case you need it, because it is for practicing to get into pro mod. So it's, there's nothing wrong. We don't count reverses in Sportsman. So we don't count reverses in Sportsman, and that is I love Sportsman. I can't run Sportsman anymore, but it's my favorite class to run. It's a lot of fun. Bring your TRX4 in there. It don't hurt you if you need to back up a few times so that you can get around the corner. Sportsman is a very fun class. I'm thinking about adding another class eventually, so that we can all run this. But like I said, this is an intermediate class. So when you come, if you're new, you're going to want to run novice and Sportsman. That's going to be your go-to classes. Once you have won Sportsman 3 times, or you have placed first in any of our 1/10 pro classes, or anywhere else's, you can't run you can't run Sportsman anymore. If you are a sponsored competitive team driver, you can't run this anymore. Now with DinoRC, we have team drivers, and then we have our pro team. If you're on the pro team on DinoRC, you can't run in this class. This is for intermediate drivers to be driving in. It's one of my favorite classes, and they are super hard gates. I usually have Sportsmen run the same gates as pro stock, so they're really tough gates to run, and you can learn quite a bit running your truck in there. The next class is Class 1. Class 1 is a Sorca. You have to run smaller tires. All of our classes, unless it's 1/10 Super Pro Mod, are limited to 5-inch tires. Well, when you get into Class 1, Sorca has its own rule set. You can get online and check that out. We go pretty closely to that, to their rule set. But, you got to have, 4.175, I believe it is, tires or under for this class. There's a lot more rules to it than that. It's normally a hard body with scale accessories. I'm not breaking down this class all the way. Like I said, there's links to Sorca rules that you can look up and figure out how to build, but it is a 60-point class, and we are going to start taking these trucks. The next one is Class 2. So we're going to have Class 1 and Class 2. Class 1, which they've made a few changes to the rule sets, but it's a more stock-looking truck. Hard body, generally speaking. It is possible to do it with the Lexan and point out. Class 2 is the same thing. It's a 50-point build, which you'll see in Sorca. You can run a taller tire. I believe it's 4.75 is the height that you can run on this. Now, in Sorca, there are tires that are, that are banned. So we are going to go by the Sorca rules, whatever they are, whatever changes they make. I'm going to go by the Sorca. The reason why is because I want us to be able to practice with our trucks at some local comps, so that when we go to a big comp, we've got the same tires we've been running. We've got everything set up the same. So I want to add in Class 2 so that when we go to Super Shafty, or, if you go down maybe the Some of the other big Sorka events, you can be practiced up and ready for it. All right. And a lot of us have them, we want to run them. The last one is Pro Mod. Pro Mod, I thought I'd already went over this one. Maybe I did already go over this one. I just had to stack over there. But with Pro Mod, like I said, you do use a winch in this, whereas in Pro Stock, you don't have a winch. In Pro Mod, you do have a winch that you can use. In ours, if you use your winch, it's a 1-point penalty. Reverses count in our Pro Mod, Pro Stock, all of our Pro Mini classes. Any class that DinoRC has that has Pro in the name counts reverses. We don't want just drag races to the finish. We want to have, complete scoring in it because they're Pro classes. It makes them harder. They're a lot of fun. We set hard gates. At our comps, I set hard gates. All of my gates are usually doable without a winch, if your truck is set up right. Now, there's some trucks that's going to need a winch to get over certain obstacles, and some, that's not. But generally speaking, most people either have to reverse or winch or something in my comps, because I set very strategic gates to try your truck, to try your driving ability. But I try to make them that they're all doable. I don't want to set gates that are impossible. That's not to say I won't ever set a gate that's impossible that requires a winch. I might. But for the most part, I set all my gates so that they're doable without a winch. But sometimes if we don't get set up just right, or, your truck slips a little or whatever, it may be that it's necessary to use a winch. But anyhow, I hope this clears it up. Like I said, this is not a full in-depth on it. I'm going to do a full in-depth, but I just wanted to go over a few of the new classes that we have. We also run a Diva class. I don't know if I had Diva in this one, but if it's a Diva class, then, that is for females. So we love our Divas. DinoRC Divas are awesome. They do a lot of work to help us promote the hobby. And I want to give back to them every chance I can. Not every comp we do has a Diva class, but I do try to include Diva whenever I can. I hope that explains everything. Like I said, I'm going to do another in-depth, complete guide to our rule set as far as what to expect when you're running. But for now, this one will get you going. I hope to see you guys down at Logan, West Virginia on April the 13th. This Saturday, sign-ins start at 9 a.m. We'll probably try to get the gates open around 10 or so. And then I hope to see you up at 23RC on April 26th, Friday evening. We'll probably get started about 4:30 with sign-ins and try to have the gates open as close as we can to 5 o'clock. And then we have to be out of there by 8 o'clock. It's going to be all minis. It'll be all these mini classes I just went over. Then we'll also be doing that Saturday. Sign-ins start at 9 o'clock at 23RC. We'll be running all of our 1/10 classes. So it's a double weekend. Every entry for Friday and Saturday will get you into a drawing to win a free Red Cat Ascent 18. How awesome is that? That's what I'm talking about. Win yourself a free Ascent. Come out and be with us. Have a good time. We got all kinds of trophies. And I want to see you guys on the rocks.